Thank you, everyone, for joining us again, the Caregiver Society, for another segment of Coping with COVID-19. We have been talking about grief and trauma in our last two episodes. Today, I want to talk about anger and anger management. Today, we have Alaina Elam with us. Alaina is a certified anger management specialist, and she is also a
Human Services Board Certified Practitioner.
Board Certified Practitioner in Human Services. And she's going to talk with us about how to recognize anger, what anger is, how do we cope with anger, and what are some of the skills that we can use moving forward during and after COVID. Thank you, Alaina, for joining us at the last minute.
Thank you for having me.
to have you with us to talk to us or with us. Before I get started with anger, Alaina also works with the prison population. She has a master's in criminal justice and criminology. So I want to talk to you about the prison population very briefly, as far as what are some of their feelings during COVID. Have you been experiencing prisoners or the people who are in prison having anxiety, fear, anger? What are some of their thoughts?
So for many people who are there, incarceration in general can be a traumatizing experience. And then for many of them, they were already struggling, maybe living in poverty. So they already have a lot on their minds. Anxiety starts to creep in, and for many of them, their families are at home, their families are struggling without them. There's the uncertainty of what's going to happen with their case. The courts are closed right now, at least in Maryland. And so there's a lot of uncertainty, a lot of anxiety when it comes to release planning. We're not just looking at where is this person going to go. Now it's like, does this person have a mask? It's mandatory in Maryland to wear masks now. Many people's release plan has changed because many people were planning to go to a certain program or a certain area. That jurisdiction may be closed down, so they're not able to get transferred to wherever they're supposed to go and finish their sentence. Or many of the inpatient treatment programs have closed their doors. So if their plan was to go to a certain place, they can no longer go there, or there's a huge waiting list. Someone told me the other day that the program said he can come there, but he has to be quarantined in a hotel first for 14 days. So he doesn't have the money for a hotel. So it can be a traumatizing experience in general, but for many people, most of them are just worried about their families at home, how their families are making out, and being able to gain the essential supplies that they need.
Well, we'll talk more later with the reentry portion of what you do for work when I start the Beyond COVID conversation, and we can talk about the experiences of COVID on top of what has already been going on in society with the prison population. So moving into anger, let's talk about first, right now during COVID-19, what are some of the behaviors or situations or experiences that you see that are making people angry right now? I know that I have my own anger for some things that are going on right now that is out of my control. But what are some of the behaviors and experiences that you're seeing people being angry about?
Mm-hmm. And part of it is exactly what you said. A lot of things are out of people's control right now. So I'm one of those people too. I like to be in control of what's going on. And there are so many circumstances that are out of our control right now. So for many people, like myself, you're working from home and your whole work environment has changed. Many of the schools are shut down. So people are also homeschooling their children, learning new concepts, struggling with math. That's me. People have lost their jobs. People's sleep patterns are off. When you're going out to get essential supplies that you might need, you're experiencing long lines, not just in the store, but to get into the store. And a lot of people are just having anxiety about having enough food, having enough supplies. what's going to happen. With the stimulus check coming out, there's even some stress and anger that people are experiencing with that. And that's a positive thing that we're receiving money. But people are like, when is my check coming? Am I going to get a check? Is it going to be enough? Things like that. So a lot of those are things that people can be frustrated and angry with. I know for me, like I said, I'm working from home, also homeschooling. I have a small business on the side. So a lot of new stressors on top of the old stressors that we're also dealing with. So.
And I can relate to the going out and standing in line scenarios, because I have been staying in, I've been staying at home.
Good.
So when I do need to leave out the house and go to the grocery store very quickly, number one, they may not have what it is that I'm looking for, or there's a line, which scares me because I don't want to be around people. So then I get angry because I have to come back home, either go back home and try another day, or drive around to another store, which is not something that I want to do. So I can definitely relate to that, and a lot more of what you talked about as far as what's making people angry today. There's just so much going on that is out of our control, and it's just causing us a lot of emotional stress.
Yes,
so let's talk about, so that people can recognize the emotions that they are having. What is anger?
Anger is a psychobiological event that occurs in the body and the mind. So when we get angry, it's affecting both our mind, our emotional state, and our body. Anger is a temporary feeling, so we're not angry all the time. There are some people I like to call angerholics, and it means you're angry often, but no one is constantly angry at every moment in their life. So anger doesn't last forever. And anger can also range from like a small annoyance to rage. So there's a range of anger. You might want to say on a scale of 1 to 10. Anybody is capable of getting angry. Some people say, I don't get angry. They get angry. There's just different ways that we cope with anger. A lot of times we think that someone being angry is someone exploding, someone acting out, doing something maybe violent, speaking aggressively. But everybody gets angry. We just deal with it in different ways. And there's 3 responses that we have to anger. It's either to escalate, which is, like we said, someone acting aggressively, maybe violently, someone stuffing. I'm a stuffer. When I get angry, you kind of swallow the emotion. You don't allow yourself to experience the emotion. You just kind of stuff it down. You go, oh, my house is on fire. Okay, I'll deal with it later. Stuff it down. And managing. The whole point of anger management is we want to teach people to manage their anger, to experience the emotions, to resolve whatever the conflict is. And sometimes people, those angerholics that I was talking about, sometimes they have certain characteristics. You might find yourself having low frustration for situations, especially now with everything going on. Sometimes people can have poor communication. An example of that is, I know someone who went to get their phone fixed the other day, and the woman in the store said, wait in your car and we'll call you when it's your turn. He said, but my phone's not working. And she said, sir, wait in your car and we'll call you when it's your turn. So that was poor communication. A lot of anger can come from poor communication alone. Anger is a temporary feeling, and it affects both the mind and the body.